Well, happy Tuesday. Thanks for coming back today. And we're studying the life of Jesus through the Passion Week. And today would have been Tuesday, AD of 33. And hopefully yesterday you were able to ask yourself the question of just, is my worship a personal worship to glorify God, or does it just glorify myself? Well, Tuesday morning, the Bible tells us in Luke 21:38 that the crowds came to the temple early that morning. And of course they would have. If you think about it, if Sunday was the triumphal entry and then Monday you got to see Jesus overturning the tables, well, Tuesday you would have just been wondering, what is this guy going to do to top the last 2 days? But that wasn't Jesus' agenda, just to draw crowds. Jesus' agenda was to set his face towards the cross, to become sin. Well, this Tuesday morning is the morning that the religious leaders decided that they wanted to trap Jesus, that they wanted to come in with some hard questions with Jesus. And on one end, it's pretty crafty and noble, but on the other end, he's God. And so the reality is every question that they would have asked, Jesus would have known it even in advance because he knew all things. And I mean, let's be honest, you can't trick Jesus. You can't pull the wool over Jesus's eyes. Well, they looked at Jesus and they immediately tried to corner Jesus in this religious conversation with Jesus. And then Jesus goes into what is really one of the biggest days in Jesus's whole teaching ministry when it comes to content. Let me just challenge you. Go and read Matthew chapter 21, starting in verse 24, and read all the way through to Matthew chapter 26, verse 2. And you'll see all that Jesus taught on this particular Tuesday, most of which was directly to the Pharisees and directly to the Sadducees. And there's one theme that you'll see that sticks out that I want to challenge us with today. And it's really the question of authority. You see, the Pharisees and Sadducees were looking at Jesus and asking Jesus, whose authority are you doing this in? But what they were really asking is, do I have to give you the authority that's due to you? You see, I think in our lives, that's really our question a lot of times when it comes to our relationship with Jesus. Because most of the time, if you're anything like me, I want to be the authority of my life. But what Jesus showed us on this Tuesday, when he stepped into these conversations with these religious leaders, is that, earthly authority is not exactly the ultimate authority. And actually, I'm not the ultimate authority, and you're not the ultimate authority, but Jesus steps in as God and says, I am the ultimate authority. And if we're going to submit to his lordship, Jesus on this Tuesday shows us what that looks like, to place him in authority. In fact, Matthew 21, verse 23, listen to this. It says, Jesus entered the temple courts, and while he was teaching, the chief priests and the elders of the people came to him and said, by what authority are you doing these things? Man, have we asked Jesus that question? I know that I have. Jesus, do I really give you the authority of my life, or am I holding it back? Matthew 21, verse 42, Jesus gives the picture of why we give him the authority. He says this, Jesus said to them, have you never read scriptures? The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. And the Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes. I'm standing in a little patch of woods, and there's stones all around me, and every stone has a different function. But this stone that Jesus is talking about has a double meaning. One meaning is it's the stone that in which everything else is set off of. It's the leveling block, the corner of any building that is set, and everything else finds its structure around the authority of that stone. But another way you can look at the word cornerstone in scripture here is that cornerstone means it's the head. It's the most important, or it's the keystone. So let me ask you today, looking at Jesus' life right here, are we setting our lives on the level of him being the most important authority in our lives? Or are we fighting like the Pharisees and Sadducees, trying to hold control because we want the authority? I'm so glad that Jesus says that I don't have to carry that responsibility, that he is the cornerstone.